Yes. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday afternoon, 1:15 Central Time. We just finished up with the weigh-ins for UFC Mexico City. All 13 fights are on. We did have the Kyrez Lacerda fight where both fighters missed weight. Kyrez coming in at 130, Lacerda coming in at 127. This fight is cursed. This fight will never actually happen. It reminds me of Khabib versus Tony and Kudalaba versus Ankalaev. But it looks like it's actually going to happen. It looks like we are going to get that fight. But we've got 13 fights on this Mexico City card. It's a real banger. It's going to be a fun one. And I'm looking to cash the first Greasy four-legger of the year. I'm tired of these fucking things not cashing, everybody. We're getting this one. It's coming. All right. 4 legs plus 683 on DraftKings Sportsbook. We are going to cash this thing. I had a talk with the gambling gods. They've been treating me like Job lately, and I'm tired of it. I had a talk with them today, all right? I said, I'm not going to be your whipping boy anymore. I'm sick of these fucking decision tickets coming in 50-50 and me losing every goddamn coin flip. I'm sick of wrestlers who can't wrestle on fight day, strikers who can't strike on fight day, dumb-ass decisions. I laid juice on Zach Pauga because he said, I'm not stupid. I'm going to wrestle this guy. And then he went out there and he was stupid and he didn't wrestle the guy and he got flatlined in the first. So this is the week. We're turning it around this week. It cashes now. The gambling gods are through fucking with your Uncle Weezy. I'm coming for it. We're cashing it. We're coming down the mountain. We're going to have the momentum behind us and we're going to steamroll through these bookies this week. Leg 1. Let's fucking go. Where are we? Banners. Leg 1, Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Muhammad Naimov to go out there and shave the ass of the fraudulent Eric Silva. That's leg 1, minus 135 on DraftKings Sportsbook. We go up here to fight. What is it? Inside the distance would be the winning method. Method of victory, double chance. Muhammad Naimov to win by KO or submission, minus 135 on DraftKings Sportsbook. This one's gonna hit. The ass shaving of the week is gonna shave ass. And this is the first leg that gets us to cashing our 4-leg parlay. Leg number 2, the Victor Altamirano plus 3.5 points handicap at plus 100. That is gonna be under the fight lines here. Plus 3.5 point spread, plus 100. Felipe Dos Santos, we're overrating him in a loss against Manel Kape. Kape didn't look particularly great in that fight. He wasn't preparing for Felipe Dos Santos. Now we've got a very young, very inexperienced fighter coming up to fight Victor Altamirano, who's got several UFC fights already under his belt and has fought the much better brand of competition. He's got a great chin. He's got excellent conditioning, and he can win minutes on the feet and on the ground. So I think that this fight's going to play out pretty close here. I don't think Felipe Dos Santos is going to finish Victor Altamirano. I think the altitude is going to play a major factor here. Altamirano, he's been training at altitude for this fight, while Felipe Dos Santos just came to Mexico City this week. So I think as this fight goes on, we're going to see Altamirano take over this fight, potentially even win it. But with this particular bet, as long as the fight goes to decision, and right now they have that as at least like almost a 70% probability that it goes the full 15 minutes. All Altamirano has to do is win 1 round for this bet to cash. Plus 100, plus 3.5 points handicap is leg number 2. Leg number 3, violence. Under 1.5 rounds for Torres versus Duncan, minus 210 on DraftKings Sportsbook. But I think that one just came in to minus 200. So we're getting even a better price here. Loco Torres has been over 1.5 rounds once in his career. He's been out of the first round once in his career. This is at altitude. So a guy that we've already known has shown pretty poor conditioning and barely the ability to go 5 minutes. Now this is at altitude against a guy who will wrestle and who will kind of push a pace that is not going to be sustainable for 15 minutes in these conditions with these two particular fighters. This is one I like quite a bit. I think somebody gets served here in the first 7.5 minutes. It's a Loco Torres fight. at elevation in front of a live, raucous crowd. I definitely see somebody getting finished here, probably in round number 1. That's leg number 3, the under 1.5 rounds at minus 200. And then that gets us to the last leg, which we're going to make somewhat wide so that we can hedge out if we do cash the first 3 legs of this parlay. And we're doing that this week because the gambling gods have been informed by their Uncle Weezy that they're not fucking them over anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be us doing the fucking. Do you hear me? Us, the good guys, doing the fucking, giving the fuckings, okay? And it happens this week with this greasy 4-leg parlay. Last leg, fight doesn't go to decision. Ortega versus Rodriguez, another elevation play. We got a striker here in Rodriguez who's very dynamic and powerful on the feet. Ortega, a pressure fighter who wears his fighters down as the fight goes on. He creates scrambles, and in those scrambles, he finds very opportunistic submission attempts. I think somebody gets served in this fight, whether it's Rodriguez finding a knockout, whether it's Ortega finding a submission or a knockout or some kind of a pressure-based breaking Yair Rodriguez in the 4th or 5th round of this fight. This one's not seeing the scorecards, ladies and gentlemen. We scroll back up to the top here. Fight props on top. Fight to go the distance. Yair Rodriguez versus Brian Ortega, no. Minus 200 brings us up to plus 683 on DraftKings Sportsbook. We tell Gambler, cash it, and we're moving on to next week. We did it, you guys. How are you guys doing in the chat? Who's here with me today? We got the Olajuwon Dream in the room saying, oi! And we've got him saying, let's get greasy. We got my guy Brady, DFS by the numbers, in the room saying, let's get greasy. We got Olajuwon in here saying it's going to be a big weekend. And Olajuwon Dream saying mountain song, Jane's Addiction, coming down the mountain. All right? All of us. Da-na, da-na, da-na. And we're going to run over these bookies. It starts this week with this parlay, with the ass shaving of the week. Alta Moreno plus 3.5. Under 1.5 rounds for Torres Duncan. Fight doesn't go to decision for Yair versus Ortega. It's going to cash this one. And Mountain Song will be playing in the background by Jane's Addiction, a classic from my high school days. We got Justin Bryan in the room saying, yes, let's go. Olajuwon Dream saying, what should you play if you can't get the points handicap? If you can't get the points handicap, maybe just make it a 3-legger, because I think that this is going to be a close fight, but I wouldn't put a plus 245 underdog in this parlay. I think another decent spot this week that so let me just go to my tracked bets here. I do like the fight goes to decision or the over 2.5 rounds for Zellhuber versus Prado. I think that's a pretty good play. If you can't get that 3.5 points handicap, I could see man, that's a good question, dude. I really don't know, because those 3.5 points handicaps are bets that I like this week. I would just make it a 3-legger. I would just make it a 3-legger if you can't get that points handicap. We got Remdog in the room saying, oi, good luck this weekend, Unc. Maybe I'll just play fight goes to decision. That's probably what happens in that fight. It's going to be not nearly as fat, but I do think an over 2.5 cashes, a fight goes cashes there. Or it could be the over 2.5 or fight goes for Prado versus Zellhuber, as they're both really durable guys. We got, wow, we getting greasy. Weezy says Ruthless Soda Pop. Damn right, we're getting it. We're going for it this week, you guys. We got Olajuwon Dream is laughing. We got Jester saying, fucking them bookies like it's still Valentine's Day. Rough, rugged, and raw, Jester. I'm not planning it. I'm not planning it to be pretty or romantic this week. It's going to be utilitarian and greasy. Let's go. We got Michael Martinez is in the room saying, what's up, Unc? We got Richard in the room saying, let's go. We got coming down the mountain. Damn right, Olajuwon. We got Peach the Teach in the room saying, let's go. Let's get it, man. We got Richard saying Prado Zellhuber over 2.5 was plus 110 early in the week. Yeah, I like that. I actually got the fight goes there at plus 135 because I saw that line was way off compared to where they have the over 2.5. So I decided to jump on that one. I think it's a good plus money number, and I think both of those guys are very durable. I think Prado is putting Sell. What? Oh, you think that Prado is putting Zellhuber out? Yeah, I mean, it could definitely happen. That dude hits hard. He's gonna have to find his way into the pocket though, and that might be a little bit tricky because he's at a big time reach disadvantage here. Ruthless Soda Pop saying thoughts on a round 3 Aguilar sub, Sprinkle Weezy. Mendoza only arrived in Mexico this week. A little worrying. Yeah, I parlayed Mendoza like late last week because I was looking for a leg because I knew that Naimov line was going to get out of hand. It was only at 260, minus 260 earlier in the week. And I was like, I got to find something to parlay it with. And I hadn't done any of my research yet. And I'm just like, I remember Aguilar just being kind of mid. And so I bet Mendoza because he was younger, much longer, taller, a lot more explosive on the feet, and a very good submission grappler in his own right, training at a really good camp in Shootbox Diego Lima. He's faced a solid level of competition at the UFC level and on the regional scene. But then when I watched the tape, I was like, man, this guy Aguilar is very live. So I don't mind that round 3 sub sprinkle at all. I think it's a good look. Bet 365 gives profit boost for all UFC parlays. Yeah, I got to get an account there. I like it. I think that's going to check out. Anytime you can get profit boosts on these parlays, it's a good look. We got Olajuwon Dream liking it. Nice. We got Peach to Teach saying that he thinks Prado gets the knockout. We got Pickle Kush saying let's get it. We got Matt saying I'm interested to know what divisional averages do you have in your stat sheets. So in the advanced stat sheet, everything that you see here is going to be weighed against the divisional averages. So for Moreno Royval right now, you see that Brandon Moreno lands 3.8 significant strikes per minute. And we got a green number here that's positive. That's 0.59. And what that number means is that the divisional average, he's 0.59 strikes per minute above it. So the divisional average is actually 3.21. So we know that Brandon lands 3.8, and we know that it's 0.59 above the average. And then we can just determine what the average is from having those two numbers, do the subtraction or the addition. So we've got divisional averages embedded in every single matchup spreadsheet, but with the new product that I'm almost done coding, let me see if I can grab that up here for you guys. Give me just a second, and I'll show you the analytics sheet in the new template that's going to be available for $25 a month. All right, so on this, we're going to have this analytics sheet here. And this analytics sheet is going to have basically all of the divisional analytics. Now, this one here is a general sheet. We don't have it parsed out by weight class, but I do have every fight that's taken place in the UFC and the statistics from those fights from 2013 on. So we can do benchmarking and divisional averages for every single weight class. And we will know, for instance, the 3-round unders, what percentage of fights don't go to decision, what percentage of fights finish under 2.5 rounds, fight doesn't start round 3, under 1.5, all that stuff. We've got significant striking data here. This is significant strikes landed per minute. This is the divisional average here for significant strikes landed per minute, for attempted per minute, for accuracy, knockdowns per 15 minutes, knockdown percentage, distance strikes landed per minute, distance strikes attempted per minute, accuracy, distance knockdowns per 15 minutes, distance knockdown percentage, time spent at distance on average. And we've got that for not only the divisional averages, but also for what the winning fighter gets compared to the losing fighter. We've got grappling metrics and control time statistics per minute. We've got DFS work rates per minute by site. So if you play DraftKings, FanDuel, Prize Picks, Underdog, you're going to be able to know what the divisional averages are in terms of work rate per minute, the striking work rate per minute, the grappling work rate per minute, the 3-round and 5-round statistics per fight, significant strikes landed, takedowns landed, the fantasy scores that are scored per fighter in each place, like FanDuel, like DraftKings, like Prize Picks and Underdog. We got DFS scores by round of finish. So if you ever wondered what the average score is for a DraftKings winner with a first round win, you would know by looking at the analytics page, it's 110.28 points. So yeah, this is the incredible amount of analytics that are going to be at your fingertips with this new product. And it's going to be division by division. And we're going to compare each fighter's statistics against those divisional averages. And then we can use all those analytics when we're analyzing significant strike props, for instance, for each fighter. When we're looking at takedown props for each fighter. When we're looking at fantasy score props that are available on Underdog and Fantasy for on Underdog and Prize Picks for each player. We've got a summary sheet where we can look at all the significant strike props, right here. We can look at all the takedown props right here. We can look at all the fantasy score props. So yeah, I mean, we're going to have a ridiculous amount of statistics available on this new Patreon with this new product. And there will be some content that goes along with the product as well, so that everybody can make the most out of it. It's going to be a very complicated thing that's going to take a little bit of time on the user's part to learn, but I'm going to make sure that we have instructional videos on how to make the most of these analytics, of these statistics, and of the content that will come with it, because nobody else is going to be doing anything like this. This is just your Uncle Weezy who has access to these analytics, statistics, and benchmarks. And when I'm planning on making that available to people who support my work and giving them the full benefit of all the work that I've done curating and accumulating these stats over the last couple of years. We got Olajuwon Dream saying only on moneyline parlays, though. We got Gerald Gardner, my guy in the room, saying, "What's up, Uncle? Good to see you hanging out in here, Gerald. Let's get it this week." We got Matt saying, "Do you provide the divisional averages on their own?" Yes, they're right there. As a matter of fact, if you take these sheets, the divisional averages are over to the right. So you got to go way over to the very end of the spreadsheet, but then you will find them over here. There they are. They're embedded at the end of the strike, or the shit that I cut and paste into this to create the sheets. So yes, those divisional averages are available all the way over to the left in columns JT through KM. So they are available there, but also they're going to be available on the analytics part of this sheet, where you're going to have all the divisional benchmarks for each division. Finally caught one of your shows live, says Gerald. Nice, dude. Good to have you hanging out in here. We got Teron Brown saying, "What's up, Uncle? Good to have you hanging out in here, Teron." We got my guy Rotten Randy in the room. My guy Randy helping me out earlier last week, sending a little care package to me. Much appreciated, Randy. Good to see you hanging out here live in the chat. We got Thomas Kane in the room saying, "If you can't get the points handicap, play the dog for $5 and a 3-legger for $20. That's an excellent call there, Thomas. That's probably the best way to do it. Can I extract the data to do what I want with it? I don't know. I don't think you're going to be able to cut and paste from it, Matt, but I'm not sure exactly if you're going to be able to extract it to do what you want with it, because I don't know what you're going to do with it. Olajuwon Dream saying, "That's an idea, Thomas Kane. That is an excellent one." Torres sleeps Duncan. Yeah, I mean, like the under 1.5, kind of encapsulates Miguel Torres' win condition, and he's a big favorite in this fight. He doesn't really win fights outside of the first round. So, yeah, I think that under 1.5 at -200, it takes into account all of Manuel Torres' win condition, but Duncan's a dude who hits very hard as well, and we know that this is at elevation, and that Torres is a guy who kind of goes balls out from the bell, so we could see him even getting tired and finished in the second half of the first round or the beginning half of the second. So I think that Torres sleeping Duncan is definitely a big possibility this week. We got Abdi in the room saying, "I We got Dix Insider in the room saying, Profeta Wizayas, I'm ready to make some pesos, I think that is. Yeah, man, I am too, dude. This is going to be a great week this week. Does Ortega suck compared to Rodriguez? No, he doesn't. I mean, Ortega was he was a favorite the first time they fought, a -160 favorite. So he definitely does not suck compared to Rodriguez. We just haven't seen Ortega in about a year and a half now. So a little bit of a question as to how he's going to look. If he does show up looking pretty good, I think he's going to have a lot of value here because he's got the better ground game compared to Yair Rodriguez. He's a good striker in his own right, and Ortega's pressure on the feet could give a striker like Yair who needs distance and to get his kicks off. That could be potentially a really good style matchup for Ortega here. That's why Ortega was the favorite the first time around, but we don't know how he's going to look. He just arrived in Mexico City this week, so there's a lot of questions. And I don't think that's Paul Shag's burner. That's just our guy Dix Insider, who is a absolute killer of MMA Twitter and the YouTube scene here for us cappers, a guy who supports us all. So thank you guys for supporting me. Let me give you the banners real quick here. Leg one of the Greasy 4-leg parlay, Muhammad Naimov to win inside the distance at -135. Leg two, the Victor Altamirano plus 3.5 points handicap at +100. Leg three, the under 1.5 rounds for Loco Torres versus Chris Duncan at -210. And I think it's moved to -200. And leg number four, the Ortega Rodriguez fight does not go to decision, -200. That lines up at +683 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's cash this thing and move on to next week's dumpster fire card, which is an Apex card headlined by Shamil Gaziev versus Jairzinho Rosenstrike. So thank you guys for hanging out live here on a Friday with your Uncle Weezy. Hit that thumbs up on the way out. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And please consider joining the Patreon where you get access to all these phenomenal stats that we kind of highlighted here for you guys today. So appreciate you guys. Have a great week. Enjoy watching the fights. And we will see you guys next week for this, for Stat Diggers, for Just the Tip, and all the usual shows for UFC Vegas 80-something with Gaziev versus Rosenstrike as the last fight. So good day, everybody. Enjoy watching the fights. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Mexico City. Goodbye.